This is an educational podcast, or EduCast, created by Jim House, Assistant Professor of Computer Science and Communication Arts Technology at Allegheny College of Maryland. For more information about Allegheny College of Maryland, please visit us on the web at allegheny.edu. Computer experts universally recommend that you make backups of your data. It sounds pretty basic, right? Unfortunately, this advice tells you what to do, not how to do it. It fails to address some key questions such as, do I need special backup equipment and software? How often should I make a backup? What should I do with the backups? In this podcast, you'll find answers to your questions about backing up data that's stored on a personal computer. We'll begin by looking at how to devise a backup plan that's right for you, and then review your equipment and software options. Along the way, you should pick up lots of practical tips to help you keep your data safe. Have you ever mistakenly copied an old version of a document over a new version? Has your computer's hard disk ever gone on the fritz? Did a virus wipe out your files? Has lightning fried your computer system? These kinds of data disasters are not rare, and they happen to everyone. You can't always prevent them, so you need a backup plan that helps you recover data that's been wiped out by operator error, viruses, or hardware failures. A backup is a copy of one or more files that has been made in case the original files have become damaged. A backup is usually stored on a different storage medium from the original files. For example, you can back up files from your hard disk to a different hard disk, a rewritable CD, a DVD, a tape, floppy disk, or a website. The exact steps you follow to make a backup depend on your backup equipment, the software you use for backups, and your personal backup plan. In technical jargon, you restore data by copying files from a backup to the original storage medium or its replacement. As with the procedures for backing up data, the process you use to restore data to your hard disk varies, depending on your backup equipment and software. It also depends on exactly what you need to restore. After a hard disk crash, for example, you'll probably need to restore all your backup data onto a brand new disk. On the other hand, if you inadvertently delete a file or mistakenly copy one file over another, you might need to restore only a single file from the backup. Most software designed to back up and restore data allows you to select which files you want to restore. The following checklist outlines factors you should consider as you formulate your own backup plan. Decide how much data you want, need, and can afford to back up. Create a realistic schedule for making backups. Make sure you have a way to avoid backing up files that contain viruses. Find out what kind of boot disks you might need to get your computer back up and running after a hard disk failure or a boot sector virus attack. Make sure you can test your restore procedure so that you can successfully retrieve the data you've backed up. Find a place safe to store your backups. Decide what kind of storage device you use to make backups. Select software to handle backup needs. A full system backup contains a copy of every program, data, and system file on your computer. The advantage of a full system backup is that you can easily restore your computer to its pre-disaster state simply by copying the backup files to a new hard disk. A full system backup takes a lot of time, however, and automating the process requires a large capacity tape backup device or a second hard disk drive. Viruses can damage files to the point that your computer can't access any data on the hard disk. In this case, it's really frustrating when you restore data from a backup only to discover that the restored files contain the same virus that wiped out your data. If your antivirus software is not set to constantly scan for viruses on your computer system, you should run an up-to-date virus check as the first step to your backup routine. Your backup schedule depends on how much data you can afford to lose. If you're working on an important project, you might want to back up the project file several times a day. Under normal use, however, most people schedule a once-a-week backup. Store your backups in a safe place. Don't keep them at your computer desk because a fire or flood that can damage your computer can also wipe out your backups. In addition, a thief who steals your computer might also scoop up nearby equipment and media. Storing your backups at a different location is the best idea, but at least store them in a room apart from your computer. The backup device you select depends on the value of your data, your current equipment, and your budget. If you can afford a tape drive, buy one. Install it and use it. Otherwise, you might want to use your writable CD drive, zip drive, or floppy disk drive. Today, most computers are equipped with a writable CD or DVD drive with adequate storage capacity for a typical computer owner's data files. An easy way to back up your important data is simply copying selected files to the writable CD or DVD. No special software is necessary for this task. The major disadvantage of backing up your data on CDs and DVDs is that the writing process is slower than even writing data to tape or a removable hard disk. Tape drives are typically used in business computing situations when a full system backup is desirable. Some computer owners with large amount of important data also install tape drives on their home systems. Tape drives are fairly inexpensive and fast enough to back up an entire hard disk in less than 2 hours. A tape drive with the capacity to hold the entire contents of a computer's hard disk can be left unattended as the backup proceeds. To make a tape backup, you typically use backup software, a set of utility programs designed to back up and restore files. A full backup makes a fresh copy of every file in the folders you've specified for the backup. In contrast to a full system backup, a full backup does not necessarily contain every file on your computer. A full backup might contain only your data files, for example, if those are the files you want regularly backed up. A differential backup makes a backup of only those files that were added or changed since your last full backup session. After making a full backup of your important files, you can make differential backups at regular intervals. If you need to restore all your files after a hard disk crash, first restore the files from your full backup, and then restore the files from your latest differential backup. An incremental backup makes a backup of the files that were added or changed since the last backup. Not necessarily the files that were changed from the last full backup, but the files that changed since the full or incremental backup. After making a full backup of your important files, you can make your first incremental backup containing the files that changed since the full backup. When you make your second incremental backup, it will only contain the files that changed since the first incremental backup. A boot disk is a floppy disk or CD containing the operating system files needed to boot your computer without accessing the hard disk. A bare-bones boot disk simply loads the operating system kernel. You can make a boot disk using My Computer or Windows Explorer. A more sophisticated boot disk, sometimes referred to as a recovery CD, loads hardware drivers and user settings as well as the operating system. Recovery CDs are sometimes included with new computer systems. Some computer manufacturer websites offer a download that creates a recovery CD. The operating system might also supply a method for creating recovery CDs. For example, the Windows XP Backup utility creates a set of automated system recovery disks. The contents and capabilities of recovery CDs vary. Some are designed to restore your computer to its like-new state and wipe out all your data. Others attempt to restore user settings, programs, and data. Before you depend on a recovery CD, make sure you know what it contains and how to use it in case of a system failure. This has been an EduCast podcast brought to you by Jim House and Allegheny College of Maryland.